This is Genetics for Science 10, lesson on incomplete dominance. So far, all of the examples we have used, the genes have only had two forms. That is, they have a dominant form, which has capital letters, or one capital and one small. Sorry, that got erased. There we go. Or they have a recessive form, which have two small letters, and there's no middle ground, so there's nothing in the middle here. Not all genes behave this way. Some of them allow for the expression of a middle trait, or a range of expression. For example, height would be in a middle trait, or a range. A middle trait is a mix of your two parent phenotypes. Two types of genes that do this are called incomplete dominance and codominance. Incomplete dominance is this lesson, and codominance is our next lesson. An example for incomplete dominance, where the phenotype of the heterozygous, that's where you have a big and a small letter, is a mix or of your two parents, is flower color. Flower color in Snapdragon is most common for incomplete dominance. Big R is our red flower. Big R turns out to be a pink flower. And little r is a white flower. Remember, we don't change the letter of the recessive gene to W because our dominant trait is usually what letters the gene. Dominant trait gives the letter. And then you use a lowercase to show the recessive. Okay, here's our first examples. We're asked the genotypes and the phenotypes of the F1 and F2 generations of a purebred red, that's important, and a purebred white Snapdragon. Okay, so that's what our question wants. So here's our parents, red. If we look up above, it's big R. And our white, if I look above, is little r. These will make an entirely big R, little r F1 generation. We don't necessarily need to draw a Punnett square for this one because we will have 100% big R, little r. And in our phenotype, these will be 100% pink, even though neither parent was pink. The rest of the question asks for the F2 by crossing two F1s. So what we're doing is we're going to take our pink parents and cross them. Now in this case, it is helpful to draw a Punnett square. And into my Punnett square, I will put my parent genotypes. Remember to split them up, so big R, little r, so I'll do that from this parent, split them. And I'll just change color for my other parent here. We'll do this guy. I'll put them down the side. Big R, little r. Okay, and now I can fill in what my offspring would possibly be. So my first square gets two big R's. My second square, one big, one little. My third, one big, one little. Remember, the big one is always written first. And my last square gets two little r's. Okay, and just a reminder of how I came up with what goes in my square. I look down and I look across to find out which two letters I'm using. Okay, so now to summarize, because the question asked us both our genotypes and our phenotypes. And we want the percents. The question is asking for percent. We can list them like this. We have genotype, big R, with 1. I have 2, big R, little r. I have 1, little r. That's expressed as a ratio. The question does ask for percent, so I have 25%, 50%, and 25%. Now, when it comes to our phenotypes, big R is red. Big R is pink. And little r is white. And again, my percents will actually be the same as they were for the genotype. So 50% pink, 25 red, 25 white. Okay, our next example asks us to cross a red and a pink snapdragon. So what will our offspring be? So we need to know a genotype for our red parent would be big R, and a genotype for my pink parent would be big R, little r. Helpful to draw the Punnett square. And big R at the top from this parent. Big R, little r from that parent. And now we'll fill in 2 big R's here. And this one also gets 2 big R's. This one, if I follow down, I get 1 big R and 1 little r. And this one also gets 1 big R and 1 little r. So we have 2 big R, we have 2 big R, little r. These are red, these are white. Nope, sorry, those are not white. Big R, little r is pink. And we have 50% of each. That's our probability. And if I go back and I check what my question really was asking, what percent of the offspring flowers will be white? I better answer that. In this we have 0% white flowers. And this lesson is followed by the lesson on codominance on the next video.